This episode of the ABIC podcast is brought to you by the Aesthetic and Beauty Industry Council. Hello and welcome to the ABIC podcast, your online support community for the aesthetic and beauty industry. Here, we're strengthening and unifying the industry through representation, innovation, and education. This is a platform created and dedicated to the aesthetic and beauty industry, valuing unity and advancement. We serve to represent, support, and inspire you by connecting you with industry experts, expanding your knowledge through educational pieces, and bringing you the latest industry news. This is the ABIC podcast. Welcome to the ABIC podcast. I'm Stephanie Miller, and today we're diving into a topic that affects every clinic, salon, spa, and skin professional: skin misinformation, and how education can rebuild trust between the public and our industry. Joining us are two passionate industry educators: Tracy Mead, founder of Skin Health Solutions Education, and Bianca Robertson, a dermal therapist and clinical educator. Together, they've made it their mission to make science-based skin knowledge accessible not only to professionals, but also to everyday Australians, mums, teens, and anyone feeling overwhelmed by mixed messages online. Welcome to the podcast, ladies. It is so wonderful to have you both with me today.
It's lovely to be here. Thank you.
Yes, we're thrilled for the opportunity.
Well, I'm excited about the topic because it's a very timely topic. Before we dive in, Tracy, you've been on the podcast before. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be in the beauty and aesthetic industry.
So I actually joined the beauty industry in my teens, so it's well over 30 years ago. So I've certainly seen some huge changes in that time. My career had gone from training and working for a plastic surgeon to going out and being a detailer for pharmaceutical companies and also a trainer. And then settling in regional Queensland up here near Toowoomba and having 4 children, and then having a clinic with 5 staff. After quite a few years of doing that, I sold that clinic to one of my staff members, and I'm a sole trader now. And part of that was doing a lot of presentations in school regarding teen skin. Had 4 children, doing a lot of teen skin at the time.
That's so interesting, and I segues right into what we're talking about today, and I'm very excited to get into it with you. But Bianca, this is the first time on our podcast. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found an interest in this industry as well.
Thanks, Steph. It's very exciting for me to be here. My name is Bianca Robertson. I am at the moment a national educator for a medical skincare company. I have been in the industry for probably 25 years. Started out very similar to Tracy, where I was working for a plastic surgeon doing pre and post operative care. I got the opportunity to become a clinical educator for a international skincare company. So I jumped on board with that. Loved it, and continued studying. I was studying at the time a Bachelor of Health Science, majoring in aesthetics. I've continued even further studies. I'm now a dermal clinician as well. And yeah, education is my passion. I've been educating for 17 years, and I'm always supporting clinics. I'm always supporting skin clinicians out there. And what's brought me to this point is the fact that there is a massive disconnect with the consumer and the professional. And I think when Tracy introduced me to this concept, I just loved it. So I cannot wait to talk a bit more about that.
I can really hear the passion in both of your voices when you talk about this topic. And it happens whenever I talk with educators. Educators just always want to set the record straight and make sure that everybody has the correct information. And I think that really, really plays a huge part in what we're talking about today, because of course, we're talking about skin misinformation with our clients. And how education rather can rebuild that trust between the public and our industry as well. So let's get started. We'd love to pick your brain, starting with you, Tracy. I'd love to know, you have spent years working directly with teens, obviously parents and schools as well. What made you realize there was such a huge gap in the public understanding of skin health specifically?
It actually sort of evolved, and it was quite concerning. So it started with my clients. It is interesting, the more information we're getting from social media, the actual more misinformation they're getting. And it amazes me what some people come in and say. Also, the parents have no idea what they're doing or buying for their teens. They're very much thinking, well, they've investigated it and what they want is, I'll just order it and it will work for them. So with that misinformation coming in, I said, oh, what had happened was I was going into schools quite regularly and doing a presentation, which I really enjoyed because they were usually schools of my children. You can imagine how thrilled they were for mum to get up on stage and do this presentation. But we made it quite funny and we made it very science-based because, one, I'm hoping to get some of those teens that are growing up to have a look at ingredients and also realise this is a science-based topic, what's happening with their skin and body. So the school program was getting too big for me to handle on my own. I was doing it out of love. You couldn't charge the schools. And also I realised that speaking to the teens is all well and good, but it's actually the parents that I want to get to. So I came up with the idea of virtually taking the program I was presenting to schools, videoing it and offering that to schools. Then I had a conversation with a number of people that just went, well, how do I get it to the parents? And this is why Skin and Health Solution education has come about. So doing your due diligence, would it actually work? I went and surveyed people all over the place. There was no point surveying my clients because they already had some knowledge, or they definitely should have had knowledge. So I just went out in the community when I was shopping, when I was out to dinner. My husband just loved me doing this. And I got people to fill out a survey. And I did put the results on the ABET community. But just having a look at where we were placed. So they were given 10 options. And I just asked them, where would they go for teen issues? And could they just rank them 1 to 5 or 1 to 10? And very interestingly, and I didn't think the beauty industry would rank all that high, but we came 5th. So that was a concern in itself, that they're not seeing us as the experts. So then I asked the question, well, why not a skin beauty therapist, which is how it was written, beauty or skin therapist? And basically, more times than I'd like to admit, they came up with, oh, they just sell expensive products, or they try and get you on a big program of like 10 IPLs. And I sort of looked at them and I thought, well, that wasn't a response I was expecting. And then I asked them, well, do they actually know the difference between a beauty therapist, dermal therapist, even, a dermatologist? And they didn't. They really had no idea. And I said, are you aware that a skin professional these days have actually got degrees or, Cert 4s, or they study a particular area? And I said, my speciality is acne. I do a huge amount of acne and we go through the treatment plans. They go, oh, no, they had no idea. So it sort of made me think, well, there's a very, very big disconnect there with these consumers and it's huge. So that is a lot of clientele we have the opportunity to bring into our clinics.
Absolutely. And it's concerning because, frankly, I mean, I've been in this industry for 25 years and I have seen firsthand the type of care and remarkable results that therapists achieve as I won't say as opposed to dermatologists, but it's a specific thing when you go in to see a dermatologist, right? You're treating a particular concern. You're not exactly treating skin health, and there's a lot of medications and so forth involved. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but it's such an incredible disconnect that's out there, and such a really insightful thing that you've brought to everybody's attention. And so, Bianca, from your experience in clinics, what do you see day to day in clients who come in with these misconceptions?
Great question, Steph. So obviously we've all been in the industry for a long time. We know it's changed, and it's changed in the fact that the consumer, the clients, they are being flooded with information. And the information that they are seeing is someone else's routine. They're seeing this miracle cure. They're seeing things that are creating those misconceptions. I think the most common one that we're seeing right now is beef tallow. Clients are getting this idea that beef tallow will fix their skins. So this is where our whole opportunity to reevaluate the way we treat a client comes in. We used to just recommend skincare. We used to just recommend skin programs. But now we have to re-educate our clients. And we have to identify, obviously, what are their needs and how we can not only create those particular programs for them, but link that to, how they are educating themselves. I think, we know that the biggest frustration for a clinician is that we have 1 hour with a client. Yes. They walk in those doors, they've got a skin concern. So they might have this information from a friend, from social media, and they come in, teamed with, okay, I need a particular ingredient to fix this. And, they mean well, they want the right thing, but they're walking in with this already, they've got this conception in their mind. Now it's up to us as the clinician, we've got now an hour with them to reevaluate, to re-educate, and to try build a foundation of knowledge that continues until we see them for the next month, which is so difficult because the minute they walk out the doors, they are flooded with information. I mean, the amount of time that they spend scrolling, and they get all this tips and tricks and this worked for me and this will work for you. That's the misconception, I believe, is that we need to continue constantly educating that client in between visits as well. So how do we do that, and how do we frame our whole journey as a skin therapist when we only have 1 hour a month with a client?
I can tell you that we've experienced this because I had clinics for the past 20 years. We've experienced that exact same dilemma. And I feel that everybody listening to this podcast that's a professional, is thinking the same thing. You're right. We are fighting this uphill battle. How do we address it? So let's talk, Tracy, about how this actually impacts the professionals in our industry. You have created resources that clinics can actually use to start these conversations with clients. Tell us, how can we weave this education principle more into daily interactions with our clients?
So what we're trying to do here is actually have something that the whole community or the whole beauty industry can use. So not something that is, just for one. I'm trying to get something that we all align. Like we have similar training. We may use different modalities and different skincare ranges, but at the end, the science is what we actually believe and what we want to actually get through to a client. So example with acne, you'll hear all these things, oh, you've got to get to the root cause, and yeah, we do. But it's not usually one cause, is it? We've got a very complex issue there, and we have to look at everything from their lifestyle to, how they treat themselves, how they're feeling, their hormone levels, and actually treat it as well. So it isn't an easy thing to do, but if we can actually refer clients to a site either before their visit coming into the clinic or afterwards as they're leaving, and there's some paperwork there, and say, look, here's something you can sit down and watch with other members of your family and actually learn about how it actually works and what the causes are. You're backing it up outside of clinic as well as in clinic. And we're trying to also have a look at the beauty industry as a whole in saying, can we come together a little bit and educate through our social medias and our website what we're offering? I offer from advanced treatments to to what you'd call is the, traditional beauty therapy. I love doing a relaxation facial. I really, really enjoy doing that. I also love doing needling and IPL and all the other modalities that I have. But one isn't better than the other, but we have all got a very different skill set. We need to be dictating or, letting clients know what is on offer in our clinics so that they can start to understand the education level is very different from one clinic that may offer mainly relaxation to someone that's offering more surgical. So we're one industry. We're not against each other, we complement each other. So it'd be really good to have information there that we can actually all use.
And that would really change the perception of our industry from, I would say, what people might perceive as very sales-driven, very product-driven, to actually shift to solutions-driven. And that could be an education-first game changer for the perception of our industry. Bianca, you're an educator and you're a clinician, so you're both. What advice do you give professionals trying to position themselves as credible educators in the field?
I absolutely love that you've said that we need to move from sales-driven to solutions-driven. First, I need to say that's 100% correct. And I believe that's exactly what education does. Education empowers our industry. It makes sure that it shifts the way the client sees us from selling to solving and knowing that why we're doing it in the first place. Skin clinicians, we touch, we look, we are constantly playing around with skin. We know skin so well, but we also know people. And the more we obviously educate ourselves, the more we feel more confident in the treatment room. But you can be educated till the cows come home. It's about how that education is obviously then relayed to that client and how the client is going to take that education away. And this is where I believe that empowerment comes in and that re-education comes in. And this is what Tracy and I are doing. Tracy is the brains behind this and I'm the excitement behind it, right? Because we've worked together. I've written some of the scripts, and what we have put together is something that is not only just going to empower the consumer, but it gives the skin clinician something tangible to actually use to continue their skin treatments. And so this is what it comes down to. We are always trying to help. Skin clinicians, we have so much empathy. Our clients cry on our bed. They tell us everything. We are that space, right? And we want to give them the clothes off our back if we could. And especially when it's a true skin condition that walks through the door. We really, really want to help them. And we offload as much as we can to that client in that time. But it's never enough because we know that it's not just what you put on your skin. It's about your entire lifestyle. It's what you do every day that impacts your skin. Your skin is a reflection of your internal health.
The Aesthetic and Beauty Industry Council is Australia's peak industry body, representing the collective professional beauty and aesthetic, salon, clinic and spa community. Created for the industry, by the industry, our council is a collaboration of industry leaders who bring their commitment and specialised skills to raise industry standards, guide regulation and be a strong voice to government. At ABIC, our purpose is to provide an accessible and supportive organisation for the betterment of the professional beauty and aesthetic field, to enhance working practices and promote unity across the various sectors of the industry. ABIC's mission also includes being a trusted source of referral, education and guidance for clients of the beauty and aesthetic profession. ABIC is here to support our members through an extensive offering, including hundreds of valuable resources, HR support and industry expert facilitators to ensure your continued growth and success. Join us today and together let's safeguard the future of the beauty and aesthetic industry. Find us at www.theabic.org.au. At ABIC, we are here for you.
So these education modules we've created, they have been very carefully built so that the consumer can watch these and be empowered and know what they can do, how they do it. And then we've built these incredible resources that they can constantly be looking back at, or, hey, I didn't know that eating that would cause me inflammation. Or, hey, I thought I had a healthy diet, but actually, hey, granola cereal is not as healthy as I thought it was. And that's why. So this is the education that we're wanting to enforce. I feel like a lot of clinicians out there are so already educated. It's just how to then we transpire that to the client and try cut through that noise between online social media platforms as well. So that's my advice, is use this opportunity, use the Skin and Health Solution Education platform to empower you in your treatment rooms so that your clients are more empowered at home as well.
That is so powerful and so novel. I mean, we always talk about education in our industry, but we always focus on the professional education for ourselves. But how do we translate that in a way that's understandable, exciting, passion building, something that the client can actually take on board and want to learn, want to know, and then incorporate into their life? Because honestly, it makes the absolute world of difference when you are an empowered client or an empowered person, understanding the intricacies of what you're doing to your health and as a reflection on your skin. I can't tell you how important this movement is and this initiative that you've taken on board. And congratulations, Tracy, as well, for putting this all together, and for your passion, Bianca, as well, in supporting that. And Tracy, I would love to, talking about, all of this information and misinformation, you support parents, teens, just people along their skin journey, but you have spent decades working with schools. What are some of the biggest myths that you see among young people, but also parents?
Well, I think we need to put some sort of post up of some of the most ridiculous things that we've heard.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
We certainly know that, if it burns or, it tingles, it's working. Acne needs to be dried out. There is, this one product is going to fix everything, or this one pill is going to fix it, or I'm going to just, exfoliate until I've got virtual bleeding skin and that's going to dry it out. It just goes on and on, that they all want the quick fix, but nobody wants to be accountable. And certainly in the Skin Basics course, at the end of it, there is a 6-week thing that they can follow. It's a tick and flick. You can actually put it on your phone, tick and flick it if they want to, but it's asking them some very, very simple questions. Did you drink water first thing in the morning? What was your mood like? Did you get some exercise? What was your sleep like? What sort of food? It's asking a lot of things that they can be accountable for. And did we get some sunlight? Because our particularly in Australia, our relationship with the sun is a real problem. I know teens that certainly go, I don't want to get burnt, so we don't go out in the sun ever. Oh, but we can't get to sleep tonight because their whole clock is out. And you're just saying the importance of explaining how something works. Like, we're not going to avoid the sun. We're actually getting UVA light, we're getting it from our devices and from light. So there is a lot more to it. And I will say I'm so proud of the skin safety course that Bianca's written. It is amazing, and it's something somehow I need to get into every home in Australia to understand how sunscreen and skin safety works. And I go into that with my eyes wide open. I have a child that has had melanoma and has been really sick. So we have a history with that, and speaking to, a number of oncologists about it. And it's amazing to see some of their understandings, because, they think an SPF 50 is the best for your skin. Well, we've seen most of them be recalled recently. Some of them are very cheap and nasty. And that is a huge concern in this country. It's wrong. And these are some of the myths that we need to get out there.
Of course, vitamin D is one of the big protectors against cancers and skin cancers in particular. And the irony is that you get vitamin D from being out in the sun, and obviously there's ways to do that safely, which I'm sure your course goes into, but it is just the amount of misinformation out there about sun exposure, vitamin D, light, wearing sunglasses, all these different types of things is an area where I truly believe you can do a huge amount of good in the for our clients, for our children as well. And Bianca, you talk about empowering clients. I said that word, it was empowering what you said before, but I love the word because it really conveys the shift in that balance of power that education can give. You say you empower them to understand their own skin. What simple framework can, I suppose, clinics, but even parents use to help educate without overwhelming them, because there's just so much information to know?
So great question. And I think it truly just comes down for them to start to get to know their own skin. Framework-wise, I believe it's about obviously taking somebody on a skin journey, on a skin health journey, having a starting point, taking photos, asking the questions, and really indicating what is going on in their life with a clear expectation of what happens next. And obviously the tools in order to get there. I think our industry, because of social media, I truly think it's because of social media, people are so confused and they're so lost. And our industry makes it hard for people to know where to begin because they want the end result straight away. So kind of paring it back and starting with the basics is my number one recommendation. Do that correct skin analysis, that correct consultation, take the photos. Then obviously it's the base that, we need to explain what is happening in the skin and why. I know clinicians know what they're talking about. They can do this. So it's not hard. Using professional guidance is essential, using science, and then obviously making it easy to understand. Then there's obviously that concept of, okay, let's tie this into lifestyle, let's tie this into everything else, and creating those manageable steps to build that confidence and give that guidance back. Now, I do think that we need to turn stress and confusion into clarity when it comes to treating teens, when it comes to helping parents. And that is why we have started this course with the basics. So it's like the basics of skin health. Tracy created that course and it's genius. But sometimes the basics don't always work or aren't enough. So we've actually created a course that's called Beyond the Basics. And it is actually designed for an acne problematic skin, because we know there's no time to waste when you're treating acne. So this is where we've started. What do you do beyond the basics? What happens if changing your diet, improving your sleep still doesn't work? What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? What's going to happen? Those are all part of the Beyond Basics course. So it holds a consumer's hand. Okay, you've decided to go to a dermatologist. What questions do I ask? What's going to happen? What is Roaccutane? What will happen to my skin when I'm on it? That's how in-depth this course is. It's giving the consumer the information as they go along, one of the hardest journeys for a teen and a parent. And yes, we've created a sun-aware and skin safety course when it comes to skin, the relationship with the sun and SPFs. And Steph, it's just the beginning. We are going to be launching so many courses: perimenopause, rosacea, and what we want the industry to let us know what they want as well, because this is just the beginning of what this education platform is going to bring to the industry and the consumer.
I am excited and actually inspired listening to you both. I mean, the incredible passion in your voices, and I can see the care and purpose-driven, project that you're doing. It's meaningful, and it will change perceptions in our industry, and that's what we have to hold on to and promote as well. And talking about perceptions and of the industry, let's move on to talk about trust and rebuilding the trust in our industry, because our industry does deserve it. We've got some incredibly talented, very, very skilled professionals in there. And when you were talking about your survey, it's interesting that survey found that consumers don't often see the beauty and aesthetic sector really as experts. How do you think that we are going to be able to change this perception? And why do you think that is in the first place?
I'm not 100% sure why it is in the first place. I think people believe that it's out of their reach. Probably in my local area, the people that I see on socials or, spending the money on advertising are certainly the elite clinics up here that do an amazing job. But, they are more expensive. I don't think people realise that other clinics or smaller clinics can offer a similar sort of thing. I think also when we have a look at the message that we're getting out, and I've got a question really for our listeners, is saying, do you position yourself as a skin educator in your clinic or as a service provider? And if you think about that for a minute, are you just providing a service or are you also educating? And I'm really hoping you say both.
Mm.
And have a little think about that, because we do want to be both, because our industry actually needs us to be promoting our industry as a whole. And this is why we're looking at trying to have a site that we can promote to everyone. And as I said, we're not selling, we're not recommending certain skin ranges or certain anything. We're just giving you the science and the fact, and we're explaining certain treatments and what to ask for, and some questions for when you're ringing up, your local clinic, some questions to ask them what they offer to get better clarity. So also on your socials for your clinic, to have a look at trying to be a little bit aligned, and with the Skin and Health Solutions, we've got a Canvas site that actually gives you drop-ins that you can put your logo with. You'd be in partnership with us. There's no cost to you. In fact, we're actually offering an incentive to the clinics where they can earn a commission on anything they sell from their own link, because we do want you to get access of the clients in your area that are actually going to the program and buying it, because then you can follow it up. So we're trying to have something that we can all use that is backed by science, and then you can use that in your clinic to massage it however you need to make it work for you.
That is very special. That is very special. It's something that I have not heard. That generosity is incredible. I think that elevates everyone in the industry. It elevates every professional, every clinic, and it elevates in conjunction our whole industry together, standing so altruistically in that way. So thank you so much, Tracy and Bianca. What do you think we can do to change these perceptions?
Well, it's honestly one of the main reasons why we created this education platform, because there's so much mixed messaging, marketing claims, influencer trends, conflicting advice. It's just ongoing. So we need to speak the same language. Every single one of us, we need to be speaking the same language, one of integrity, of education, and science. It's as simple as that. And that's why we've created this. And you know what? The more we do that for our clients, the more we educate them, the more they will trust us, because with education comes trust. Our platform, I believe, bridges the gap between clinics and consumers. And yes, this is the drive of this. The end point is to help the consumer, because that's why we are in business. That's why we are skin clinicians. We want to help others. We love seeing change and results. That's what drives us every day to put the scrubs on. And that's what makes us show up. I kind of want to add to what Tracy said is that, we also are driven by the fact that the way that this platform works is, Tracy's come up with that idea, and it's brilliant. And the concept is that we want clinics to jump on board as affiliates. Once they sign up as an affiliate, they get their own unique link to the Skin Health Solutions platform. Then they can actually sell the course and gain profits from selling the course. So that's the concept behind it. Is the benefits, yes, is to the consumer, but there's still a financial benefit to the clinics as well.
I love that. And I love that it doesn't come at a cost to the professionals. It comes at a profit to the professionals, because being in our industry is about, you're right, wanting to help people. The altruistic side, the helper side of the professionals, always I tend to see coming before the profit side. If a therapist sometimes doesn't even want to raise their prices because they're so conscious of helping that client. And I think this really does benefit not just the client, but it really does benefit the professional as well. That sometimes we do struggle to make ends meet in our clinics and salons because of just our nature, Now let's talk about some practical tips for the clinics. Okay, for listeners running clinics or salons or spas that are listening to this, what's one actionable step that they can take to improve client education?
Okay, direct them to our site. Look, I'm always asking questions of my clients, because although I'm in a unique position that my books are actually shut, but with my existing clients, I do ask them, do they have teenagers or grandchildren, and how's their skin going? Because obviously parents and grandparents want to help their teens. So that means that if they say they have children, well, I've got a little poster that I've already done up with my link for my business to this site, and I'll ask them to scan the QR code and say, get them to watch it. You watch it with them. It's really, really important that they become accountable for what they're doing to their skin and internal health. So it's a very easy thing to do. It doesn't take a lot of time. And hopefully you can get them to buy it and all of that to your link, and you get those profits. It's all done via a third party. I don't see any of that money, so to speak. You get paid direct from Podia, because the more we can actually promote it and get people talking with the correct information, the more likelihood they're going to build trust in coming into our clinics, which is where we want them.
Oh, I love that. And as we finish up, Bianca, what's one point that you want to leave in everyone's mind as we wrap up and talking about this incredible topic that has the potential, honestly, to elevate and change the way our industry is seen?
Well, shock horror from an educator, I'm going to say the simplest and most powerful thing you can do is make education part of every client interaction. Because obviously we know with education, that builds trust. And education in your clinic, well, now you can continue that education at home. And keep that message clear, because we want to help treat skin, but we also want to help our clients make good and informed choices when it comes to caring for themselves internally and externally.
Oh, I love that. It really is all about doing our best to not just treat clients, but empower them to take their own treatment journey in their own hands as well. By joining forces, honestly, with incredible, reputable educational initiatives like this that ABIC does, it has so many incredible education partners such as yourselves and members such as yourselves as well. We can actually together join forces, elevate our professionalism, empower our clients, because that's what we're here to do. Is we're really here to serve clients as well. And I really do believe in shifting this industry narrative from such a sales focus to an education and science focus. I thank you so much for your time today, Tracy and Bianca. Wow, what an incredible session, and a a way to shift the way that we look at what we're doing and how we're doing it in the industry as well. Please do come back and tell us a little bit more about what you're doing. And I no doubt that you're always innovating, and we love having you here. So anybody listening, to learn more, you can actually visit www.skinandhealtheducation.com.au. Just reach out to Tracy and Bianca for more information. Thank you, ladies, for joining and for being wonderful members of ABIC as well, supporting the industry.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. You've reached the end of another episode of the ABIC podcast, your online support community for the aesthetic and beauty industry. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay connected.